My soul has taken over a girl's body. But as I stared at the math test paper in front of me, boldly marked with a score of 65 from the final year of high school, I fell into deep thought. Back in my own college entrance exam, I got into Tsinghua University as the top scorer in the entire city. Now, looking at this unbelievable score, I laughed out loud. The laughter was particularly jarring in the quiet evening self-study session. The girl sitting in front of me turned around and gave me a disgusted look, furrowing her brows as she said, "Sophie, shut up." I couldn't be bothered to argue with her. Looking up at the homework assignments and the college entrance exam countdown written on the blackboard, I quickly realized I was now in the body of a high school girl. I looked at my hand slender and pale, picking out the small mirror on the desk. I saw a rather pretty face, prettier than my previous self, but there were faint dark circles under the eyes, a clear sign of chronic sleep deprivation. Looking down, damn, my leg was even in a plaster cast. The desk and the space under it were neatly piled with review materials, notebooks filled with dense notes, and test papers with corrections marked over and over, all with rather ugly scores. Right now, everyone was doing their homework. I glanced around. Few were talking. I wanted to ask my deskmate which year it was, but he interrupted me impatiently. "Aren't you annoying?" It seemed the original owner of this body wasn't very well liked. So, I gave up on conversation and started looking through the test papers piled on the desk. 2020 to 2021 academic year. It was 2 years after my own college entrance exam, the first year I had been a ghost. The original owner had filled an entire page of scratch paper but still couldn't solve the second to last problem. I took one look and realized all her calculations were just useless work, going around in circles. I sighed, picked up my pen and started working on it. It only took me 15 minutes to finish the last two major problems. By then, a few students were already quietly discussing the answer to the final problem. As I listened, I also corrected the answers to the earlier questions. I finally heard someone behind me say -1. So I turned around and said, "Right? The answer is -1. Did you use though?" The two of them looked at me as if I were an idiot, then just continued their discussion as if I weren't there. I was utterly baffled. Just then, the teacher came in from the door, a middle-aged bald man with glasses perched on his nose. He asked very matter-of-factly, "Who's finished? Today's problems were quite difficult." A few scattered hands went up. I raised my hand too. The laughter broke out. The teacher also looked at me in surprise. "Sophie, did you hear my question clearly?" I nodded. The teacher shook his head and said, "Don't joke with me. Hurry up and show me the corrections for yesterday's basic problems." I rummaged around for a while before finding that basic problems test. When I looked up, the teacher was already discussing the problems with a few students who had finished the test. The basic problems test paper was covered in dense red crosses. It was pouring rain after evening self-study. Just as I was wondering how to get home, and where home even was, someone called my name from the doorway. "Sophie, hurry up. It might rain even harder later." I looked over and saw a rather plain-looking girl. The school uniform looked bulky on her, and a pair of glasses sat on her flat nose, really not what you call pretty. Dragging my plaster-casted leg, I hopped over and greeted her warmly. That's just how I was before I died, getting along with everyone. Everyone in my class used to call me Big Bro. So, the original owner did have a friend. I felt deeply relieved. I immediately slung my arm over her shoulder. She looked shocked and asked, "What's wrong with you today?" I laughed. "I'm just happy to see a friend coming to pick me up after school." I glanced at her name tag. Her name was Vincent. Just then, a figure passed by me in my peripheral vision. His shoulder brushed right past my line of sight. I saw a very tall, handsome boy walking ahead with his backpack. His chestnut brown hair looked clean and fluffy under the light, and the yellowish glow made the contour of his nose bridge appear even more defined. Ah, the classic high school boy, that wonderful youthful vibe. But as that boy went down the stairs, he glanced at me very clearly. He had a pair of clear, peach blossom eyes with thick lashes. However, it felt like a warning. His gaze was as cold as ice. "Oh, so it's because of Leon." The girl whose neck I had hooked mumbled to herself. "Someone like him. You actually dared to dream." "What about him?" I asked. Curious, I advise you to give up. "How could he possibly like people like us?" "Yesterday, the girl who's second in our year. Stella, you know her, right? And she's super pretty," confessed to him. I didn't care about the rest and asked, "Where does the second rank in our school place in the provincial ranking?" Seeing my relaxed reaction, she was stunned again. "I don't know. Why would I care about that? But she should be able to get into Tsinghua, though it's not guaranteed. After all, our school hasn't had anyone make it to Tsinghua in the past 2 years. I had guessed the school wasn't great, and indeed it was true. But Leon is definitely a sure bet. He's the school's treasure. If he hadn't failed in the competition, he probably would have been directly admitted already." I was still thinking about that Leon when someone slammed into me hard. I fell to the ground and yelled, "What the hell? Who is it? Can't you see I'm still on a broken leg?" "Sorry, I'm in a rush. I'm Joseph from class 13, senior year. If you need compensation, I'll pay." I looked up and saw the person wasn't wearing a school uniform, just a black hoodie that made his skin look even paler. A shiny silver cross hung around his neck. Looked expensive. Combined with his limited edition sneakers and his casual, couldn't care less attitude. I could tell he was a rich kid. He just said that, then scooped me up from the ground with an air that suggested he might carry me, shoved me onto my friend, and then dashed off with long strides, disappearing without a trace. "Psycho," I cursed after steadying myself. "Sophie, did you take the wrong medicine today?" My friend seemed still in shock. "You usually don't even dare to talk to boys, so?" Sophie was a cute social anxiety sufferer. But I've been a social butterfly since I was little. I'm just borrowing this compatible body for a while, wanting to investigate how I actually died. But I absolutely never expected that when I borrowed Sophie's body. She had taken an overdose of sleeping pills in the toilet that day. Her soul had already left her body when I possessed it, and I, a ghost who had escaped the underworld, never crossed the Nahi Bridge, got trapped in this body, finally arrived at Sophie's home. The house was empty. There was a prepared midnight snack on the table with a note, Sophie. Mom has gone to the night shift. Eat this and rest well. I took a bite of the noodles. So delicious. After becoming a ghost, I never got to eat anything tasty. Just then, the phone screen lit up. It was flooded with abuse. I had actually been added to a group where everyone was cursing me. Things like stupid pig, brain full of X were considered mild. Most were obscenities too vulgar to read. My temper flared. I wanted to argue back, but suddenly, I felt it was worth wasting what little time I might have left in the world of the living on this. So, I turned off the phone and went to my room. I knew too little about Sophie's life. The bookshelf in the room was filled with many novels, classics, romance novels, and a diary. Who still keeps a diary these days? I still opened it. As I expected. It was filled with entries about Leon, the girl's secret crush, humble and heartbreaking. But he never once looks at me. Perhaps some people are just out of reach. I've decided to give him a gift too. Will he still remember me? He didn't even look at it, just threw it to someone else. But he smiled at Stella. Towards me, only disgust. Everyone hates me. Reading it almost gave me a heart attack. In my own student days, I never seemed to encounter such misery. I never had secret crushes, yet I was popular. The boys I rejected ended up becoming good mates. The only thing that ever upset me was a canteen lady's shaky hand, costing me to pieces of braised pork. I turned on my phone again. The messages had already reached 999+. They were still cursing, truly relentless. You're not even fit to shine Stella's shoes. She's going to Tsinghua. And you? A toad lusting after swan's flesh. I opened my social media feed and discovered that the original owner had posted a status just 2 days ago. Would you all be satisfied if I died? Below it was a flood of comments. Yeah. Why do you just talk about it? Hurry up. I'm waiting to see, and the like. A bunch of scum. I decided I wouldn't give these people the time of day. They didn't deserve it. The next day at school, free from the constraints of evening self-study discipline, my desk mates neared. Weren't you going to die? Go on then. Why come back? Someone so fragile doesn't belong here. Just then, the class representative handed out the morning math quiz. My desk mate, while messing around with the person behind him, tore his own paper. Then he actually tried to take mine. I pressed down on his hand as he reached for my paper and shot him a sharp look. What do you think you're doing? He seemed startled, freezing for a second. Probably because I was used to being bullied by him before and never fought back. What's your problem? It's not like you can do it anyway, just give me yours. Who says I can't do it? My desk mate was stunned, then let out a loud, derisive laugh. He turned to the girl behind him he'd been messing with and said, Gwen, she says she can do it. Ha ha ha. That short-haired girl glanced at me dismissively. HMPH, well, let her then. She must be pretty good at studying. She was the one who calculated -1 yesterday. I gave a mental cold laugh, propped my chin on my hand and started on the quiz. The guy next to me was still going. Well then, our Sophie should do it properly, eh? Try to get at least one question right, just pretending. The math quiz was too easy. I finished it in 10 minutes. I casually flipped through the textbook. It was all the same as before. I could recite these books with my eyes closed. Just then, my desk mate suddenly snatched my paper away. Teacher, Sophie says she can do all of it. Could you mark it for her? The boy, thin as a rake, eagerly handed my paper to the teacher. Walking back to his seat, he gave me a disgustingly smug smile. Mate, do you have some grudge against me? I smiled at him and asked, quite politely. Not at all. I just really can't stand you. Find you disgusting, that's all. He widened his eyes, raised his eyebrows, looking utterly repulsive. So, I left my seat and went over to the teacher. The teacher stared at my paper, then stared at me. After a few rounds of this, he sighed and said, Sophie, trying to cheat by looking up answers is not acceptable. Even if you can do it now, will you be able to in the exam if I catch you doing this again? I'll have to call your mother. I looked at the bright red ticks on the paper. How ironic. I took the paper back. My desk mate started his mocking expression again. I took a deep breath, thinking I shouldn't stoop to his level. Who knew he'd keep going? Crashed and burned, huh? So funny. I told you to just give it to me. Wasting paper, you trash, ha ha ha. Forgetting my leg wasn't fully healed, I kicked out, sending him and his chair crashing to the floor. The chair made a sharp, grating sound against the floor. Everyone looked over. Their faces a picture of shock. Sophie, you're dead meat. He was furious, trying to hit me, but was tangled in the chair and couldn't get up. I picked up the math exercise book from his desk and started tearing out the pages, one by one. It's you, I said. Who's been provoking me all along? I stepped on the leg of the chair. Look at the garbage you're writing. Problems like these? I could get more right than you with my eyes closed. You're the real. I leaned in close, smiling kindly. Trash. Garbage. Then I threw the entire exercise book in his face. The classroom was unnaturally quiet. Finally, the teacher snapped out of it, grabbed me back and almost screamed, his voice cracking. Sophie, this is utterly disgraceful. Come with me to the head teacher's office to reflect on your behavior. Following the teacher, my mind was filled with the image of that guy's stunned face. I couldn't help but snicker. I didn't hear the teacher's nagging. But as I got close to the head teacher's office, I heard a deep male voice shouting angrily. I saw a tall, lean-back view standing there somewhat casually. The head teacher stood in front of him, yelling furiously, Joseph, your father paid for you to study here, not for you to loaf around. Look at you now, slacking off, not even wearing your uniform, late, leaving early, spending all night in internet cafes. What do you think you're doing? Tell me. What are you trying to achieve? When I went in, the head teacher just shot me a glare and continued berating him. But that guy, looking down and seeing me, said with surprise, "Hey, it's you? The one with the broken leg last night." He smiled, revealing a canine tooth, radiating sunshine and overwhelming youthful energy. The head teacher, seeing his still nonchalant attitude, turned red with anger and started yelling at my teacher as well. And what's with this girl? These two are like two flies finding each other. She hit Ray during morning self-study, I thought. The boy next to me chuckled, bent down, and tapped on my plaster cast. Not bad, Gimpy, you're fierce. Thanks for not beating me up yesterday. I glared at him. The head teacher urgently asked, "Is Ray okay?" "He's fine. Just scraped his skin a bit." He breathed a sigh of relief, then immediately glared fiercely at me. "You. Explain yourself. Why did you hit someone?" Joseph sidled up with a grin. "You're in for it now." "That's his son." The head teacher's expression became awkward. "Call your parents. Now. Shall I call my dad too? We can all have a chat." The head teacher started clearing his throat. It was very clear he couldn't afford to provoke Joseph's dad. It ended with both of us having to write self-criticisms. "Sir, can't we skip writing it?" The boy beside me was still trying to weasel out. The head teacher roared, "Get out." Leaving the office, I saw a slender, graceful girl standing at the door, seemingly waiting for someone, fair-skinned and beautiful. Her eyes were captivating. Joseph saw her but ignored her. The girl, however, hurried over anxiously, grabbed the hem of his shirt and said, "Are you angry?" Biting her lip, she acted coquettishly towards him. He shoved his hands in his pockets, looking at her with interest. "Angry about what? Why would I be angry? I only confessed to Leon to make you jealous, you know that. I've always liked you." The girl blushed, her eyes welling up. I, wisely, decided to leave. I'm not interested in idle dramas. But I heard an impatient voice behind me. "Stella, stop pestering me. I'm not interested in you." Hearing that name, I jolted. She was Stella, the one ranked second in the year. The group admin of the chat I was added to, it was her. "Hey, what's your name?" Joseph caught up with me just as I was thinking about how to get back to my original home and find the scene of the accident. I only remember fire everywhere, but I can't remember where it was. "You're pretty impressive, staying calm in front of the head teacher. You're the second one besides me who's managed that. Not as impressive as you. I didn't really like troublemakers like him. Why are you so cold?" "Because I find you annoying." He suddenly grabbed my collar and pulled me back. I stumbled back the steps just as a car sped past. Only then did I snap out of it and said, "Thanks. Is that all the thanks I get for saving your life? Show some sincerity. Write my self-criticism for me." He handed me the paper and pen. "Please, I'm off to play ball." I smiled, threw them back at him, and said, "You want someone else to write your self-criticism, are you? Insane." Then I walked upstairs without looking back. In the stairwell, I ran into Leon. He was leaning there quietly, sunlight falling on his face, ridiculously handsome. If Joseph was the kind of rebellious, coolly handsome guy that young girls like, then Leon could only be described as looking clean, pure, and innocent enough to make even an older sister like me feel a flutter. However, he really seemed as aloof as the diary described, and last night's warning look still made me feel very uncomfortable. "Sophie," as I passed him, he actually stopped me, surprisingly. His voice was very magnetic. I swallowed and turned around. "Why did you put thumbtacks in Stella's shoes?" His expression was cold, looking down on me from his height. I was stunned. He continued coldly, "I don't like you. Don't go around hurting others." I was so angry I laughed. Was there not a single normal person in this place? I took a step closer, looked him up and down. "Excuse me, are you ranked first in the year?" "What of it?" He frowned. "Next time, I will be ranked first in the year." I looked him straight in the eye and said seriously. Leon actually curled the corner of his mouth. "Sophie, what are you playing at?" I smiled at him. "Didn't you understand me?" I remember the original owner writing in her diary about how wonderful he was. An unattainable flower, high and pure. Yet he looked at me like I was some dirt that would dirty him if I touched him. "Are you trying to get my attention by being provocative? I don't like you, understand? Just because you confessed your feelings to me, do I have to like you back?" He stepped back. "Besides, first in the year. Do you even believe that yourself?" He gave a cold laugh as if what I said was a joke. "Don't think that just because we knew each other as kids means anything. I don't want anything to do with you now. And besides, I'm with Stella now." "Oh, really? Well then. I wish you and Stella eternal happiness. I just wanted to tell you it's fine to reject a girl, but there's no need to maliciously assume the worst about her." His face was cold, his dark pupils glancing to the side. "Someone saw you do it. Was that person you?" I tittied the hair at my temple. "Rumors can kill. Besides, you can't outscore me." He seemed unwilling to bandy words with me, but his tone was disdainful. "Fine, I'll wait for you, ranked around 1,000 in a school, to surpass me. But I hope you won't cause any more trouble for Stella. It disgusts me." I was about to speak when a basketball came flying over. I reflexively reached out and swatted it away for Leon. My hand stung painfully. Clutching my hit hand, I looked down the stairs. Joseph was standing there looking up at us, his brow slightly furrowed, his expression completely different from his earlier easygoing manner. The silver cross around his neck gleamed brightly. He walked up the steps one by one, staring at Leon. "Leon, the top student, isn't it rather lacking in grace to speak to a girl like that?" They were similar in height, both over 1.8 meters tall, and both good-looking. For a moment, I almost started shipping them. "Joseph, mind your own business." "What do you mean, my business? Her business is my business." His voice was deep, his gaze firm. If I were a high school girl, I'd probably have fallen for this heroic savior right then and there. As he said this, he reached out to pat my shoulder. but I sidestepped, dodged his hand, and made my escape. You to carry on. I'm off to class, damn. The original owner was actually ranked around 1,000, and that's just within a school. I've never even seen such a low rank in my life. When I returned to the classroom, it felt like everyone's eyes were glued to me. Passing by Ray, he glanced at me sideways and pretended to do his homework, sprawled on the desk. I pulled out my chair and sat down. He didn't make a sound. The monthly exam was tomorrow. Although I was quite confident, I still didn't know Leon's exact results. I'd only seen posted in the display case that he'd once ranked around 20th in the city. Definitely not top 5. So what did I have to fear? After school, Vincent came to wait for me again. She quietly asked, "Was it you who put the thumbtacks in Stella's shoes?" I don't even know when she takes her shoes off. I opened my phone, and it's her who's been constantly bothering me, pulling me into a group where they've been cursing me for 3 days. Just as I was scrolling through the chat history for Vincent, a hand with distinct knuckles snatched my phone away. I looked up and saw Joseph frowning, his eyes displeased as he stared at me. "What? You're asking me? Otherwise, is there someone else randomly snatching my phone?" He started breathing rapidly, first as if amused by his anger, then he threw a few punches at the air, and finally pinned me against a pillar. Those sharp phoenix eyes were full of murderous intent. "I stood up for you, and you ran off. Do you think I don't lose face?" I pulled a handful of sweets from my pocket. "How about I treat you to some sweets?" He looked at the sweets in my hand, clearly gritting his teeth, but he quickly grabbed a handful and said fiercely, "Next time, don't let me see you being bullied." Then, just like when he bumped into me last time, he strode off quickly. After a few steps, he came back, returned my phone, and stuffed a box of medicine into my hand. I looked at the bruised ointment in my hand, thought of his face so close just now, and felt a bit shy, even though I'm an older sister. But Vincent beside me asked haltingly, "How do you know, Joseph?" I saw her expression was strange, her face pale, but she was still trying to force a smile. Something felt off. I still said, "We got told off by the head teacher together today, and he helped me teach a jerk a lesson." "Oh, I see." Vincent frowned and said, "Sophie, don't have anything to do with people like them in the future. We're not on their level. They'll just play us for fools." I saw her knuckles gripping her school bag strap turn white. Back home, there was again a prepared midnight snack, but no sign of Mom. It's actually quite funny. Since I've been here, I haven't seen any family members. When I was a ghost, I always wanted to quickly find someone I could possess to investigate the truth. But now that I'm possessing someone, I can't remember where my home is or how I actually died. However, it seems that as long as consciousness exists, no matter the body, skills can transfer easily. All these problems I've always been good at, I can still solve them effortlessly in Sophie's body. When the monthly exam ended, I could pretty much judge that I had definitely won this time. The subjects Sophie chose happened to be the same ones I had chosen before. It was like a fish in water. There weren't any problems I couldn't do. Apart from being a bit unsure about Chinese reading comprehension and the essay, I finished the other papers early and waited for the bell. When I passed Leon's classroom, I specifically looked inside and heard him discussing a math problem with the teacher. Leon said with some regret, "I was just missing that one point. I didn't think of it." "Don't worry, no one in our school could solve this problem. You don't need to mind too much. You did very well. Good job." I was in a great mood and bought an extra large cup of bubble tea on the way home. But unexpectedly, when the rankings came out, first place was still Leon, and my name I searched through the entire document but couldn't find it. I also looked for Joseph's name. He was 224th just then. The homeroom teacher called me to the office. I had already anticipated this. The homeroom teacher took a sip of tea and spat out a tea leaf. His small eyes looked at me through thick glasses. "Tell me, why did you cheat?" I took a deep breath and said calmly, reporting, "Teacher, I did not cheat." "Ha." The man in front of me stood up and approached. "You jumped from around 1,000th in a school to first place. Ha. How can you make me believe you didn't cheat?" "Teacher, you can ask the invigilator if they caught me cheating." I stared into his eyes firmly. "I won't admit to it. What's the use of you not admitting it? Even if the invigilator didn't see anything. So what? Couldn't you have found a way to steal the test paper?" I was so angry I laughed. "Where would I steal it from? I'm either at school or at home all day. I wouldn't know about that. If you don't know something, why force the accusation on me?" The homeroom teacher was provoked by me. His face stiffened and he slammed his teeth down on the table, slashing some tea. No one could possibly go from someone who can't even solve basic problems to getting a perfect score overnight. "Teacher, words require evidence. I didn't do it. I really did get first place. You can take any math test paper now and test me. I can still get a perfect score for you." My nails dug into my palms. "Preposterous. You're even ordering the teacher around now." He took out his phone and started dialing. When Mom arrived, it was the first time I saw this woman. She was thin and small, probably around 40 but looked 50. She was bowing and scraping, apologizing to the teacher. "Sophie, quickly admit your mistake and apologize to the teacher." My eyes welled up instantly. In a situation like this, what else could I say? It was the first time I had suffered such injustice. I remained silent for a long time. Finally, I said, "Teacher, I was wrong. I won't dare do it again." On the way home, I sat on the back of Sophie's mom's car. I asked her, "Mom, do you also think I cheated?" She just said, "You need to study hard, so you won't have to suffer like us in the future." I looked at the supermarket uniform on her back, which had a few holes, and said softly, "Mom, don't worry. I will definitely get into a good university. Even if not for myself, for the departed Sophie. I wouldn't let them bully me like this." The next day at school, as expected, when I put down my backpack, the short-haired girl behind me muttered, Cheating dog. It seemed that wanting to prove myself wasn't enough. When someone who always ranks at the bottom suddenly becomes first, everyone would think that. So I took out my Chinese book, planning to recite the ancient poems again. Chinese is my weaker subject. I never really developed an interest in classical texts and poetry. Sophie is starting to study hard now, is she? I heard she even challenged Leon before. Wonder if her face hurts. She's just trying to get her crush's attention. What do you know? I ignored them. After all, to break someone's stereotype of you, just talking is useless. After finishing reciting the poems, I took out the answer sheet from the exam. I got half of the last physics problem wrong. Sure enough, after 2 years away from the lab, I regressed. I decided to go to an internet cafe tonight to do some practice tests. When I was in high school before, I often did this. The computer screens in internet cafes are big and comfortable to look at. You can listen to music and when tired, play a couple of games. The night passes quickly. I went to one that looked the most legitimate. Although the original owner's family situation was average, her pocket money was surprisingly ample. It seemed her mom really doted on her. I told the owner I wanted an all-nighter and went to the computer in the farthest corner. I logged onto a website, downloaded all the science, composite, and math test papers from the last 2 years, put on my headphones to play music, and started working through them with my pen. I don't know how much time passed. I had finished 3 sets of papers and was about to play a couple of games when my headphones were taken off. I looked up and met a pair of amber deep eyes. Joseph? I blinked. Sophie, you come to an internet cafe just to do this? I wrote the final step and said flatly, no choice. I lost to Leon. Catching up. He walked around me, leaned down and started looking at my problems, then picked up my notes. Not bad, it's actually correct. His voice was right by my ear. I was just wondering how this guy ranked in the 200s could understand this, when suddenly another person spoke behind me. Is this the first time you're doing this set of papers? I turned around and saw a boy wearing glasses and a t-shirt with an anime character printed on it. I nodded. He took my notebook and looked at it for a long time, then called out, "Big bro." Such a familiar form of address. "Teach me physics," he said, pulling out his student ID. "I'm Jay from the rocket class of one high school rocket class. Isn't that where anyone you pick is bound for Tsinghua or Peking University?" But looking at his devout expression, I agreed. So, in a corner of the internet cafe, 3 high school students who originally planned to play games began a study session. The discussion was intense. The writing speed rapid. It had been so long since I had such a satisfying learning experience. Until Joseph pried mine and Jay's hands off the notebook, turned off the computer screen and said, "Let's go get supper." Only then did I realize I was almost faint from hunger. When the skewers entered my mouth, I felt like I saw heaven. How long had it been since I last ate? Jay was still immersed in the earlier session, looking satisfied. "Big bro, meeting you today has been immensely beneficial. Can we meet often? I'll treat you to all-nighters." He really was a genius, but not quite normal. I shook my head. "I want to play games." Just then, Joseph put his arm around my neck. "This is my big bro, don't go claiming her randomly." Jay got anxious. I quickly said, "I'm everyone's big bro." We still didn't pull an all-nighter. Jay went home in his family's car, and Joseph walked me home. On the way home, looking at the boy's sharp jawline under the streetlight, I asked, "Why pretend to be unserious and deliberately do poorly on exams?" He looked down at me. After a long silence, he finally said, "I don't want to make my dad happy." He looked up and said, his biggest wish is for me to get into Tsinghua, because he could brag about it for life. The son of a nouveau rich got into Tsinghua. I don't want to give him that satisfaction. I retorted sarcastically. "Although you're smart, Tsinghua is still a long way off for you. Gimpy, you're underestimating me." My leg had clearly had the cast removed ages ago. "Really? Your monthly exam results make me doubt the truthfulness of your words." It was quiet for a long time. I thought I had hurt his feelings, but when I looked up, I found him staring at me. "Why didn't I notice you before, Sophie?" His gaze was intense, a look I recognized, containing newly sprouted but wildly growing affection. The weekly Friday club activities continued as usual. Every student was forced to sign up for at least one. I found that Sophie had actually signed up for the debate club. When I went to the club, I understood why. Leon was sitting upright by the window, reading a book. He was the first to arrive. His slender fingers gently turned the pages, very refined and elegant. When I entered, he glanced up and ignored me. Just then, Stella entered the classroom surrounded by a group of people and sat down beside him. Leon smiled and patted her head. So gentle, like a beam of light. But that light was exclusively for Stella. Stella's eyes looked at me, provocatively propping her chin on her hand. Looking at her pure face, I suddenly felt a chill. People gradually filled the seats and the teacher arrived on time. She had a ponytail and wore delicate makeup. Seeing us automatically split into 2 sides. She shrugged helplessly. "Like this every time, isn't it a bit boring? The disparity is too great. How about, Stella, you go to the other side?" Before Stella could speak, a boy with a crew cut behind me spoke up. "No need. This way we get a chance to train. Maybe one day we'll even win." There were sounds of disapproval and laughter from the key class side. The boy's face instantly showed a trace of embarrassment. I turned and asked him, "Classmate, how are you at debating?" He scratched his head. "Just learned a bit in class." Then the teacher asked, "Who is willing to compete?" Leon and Stella raised their hands simultaneously, along with 2 other boys from the key class. A strong combination, opposing side. Be more enthusiastic. Competing with these students who have participated in debate competitions is very beneficial for your development. On our side, people were pushing and shoving, unwilling. 3 boys went up, still missing one. The teacher was still mobilizing. "This is a topic from the International University Debate Championship, won by Tsinghua University's debate team. I'd like to see your performance too. Then, almost impatiently, losing doesn't matter. The important thing is participation. Just then, I saw the debate topic on the PPT. It was exactly the topic I had debated on when I represented my school. I still remember the thunderous applause that day. My teammates, and I won a beautiful victory, they shouted my name. Laughing unrestrainedly, we took a group photo in the center of the stage. Those days were so good. I thought such youthful times would last much longer. But now, I've even forgotten their faces. Without hesitation, I stood up and walked to the side of the three boys. There was whispering below. Who is she? Seems from class 10. How are her grades? Probably pretty bad, forget it. We're just going to be crushed again today. I made eye contact with Leon. He frowned, seemingly also thinking I was overestimating myself. I no longer wore the expression of a weakling, no longer would smile ingratiatingly like Sophie used to. I just looked at him expressionlessly, like judging the weight of prey before killing it, deciding whether to use teeth or a knife. The debate lasted a long time, for the first 10 minutes. Everyone thought it was a no contest. After simple self-introductions, the three boys beside me were saying, "We're done for." Why did I even come up? I skimmed the materials they had and said, "Relax, watch me. You guys speak based on what I write." So later, I gave Leon almost no room to breathe. Pressing step by step, he finally started frequently showing flaws. I watched sweat bead on his forehead, his hand shaking slightly as he wrote. I watched our side's debaters render the opposition speechless. Stella was even worse, almost never speaking, quiet as a quail throughout. I debated for 3 years in high school, 2 in university. I could argue with reason and evidence, explain things clearly and methodically. I could even throw in some literary allusions to appear learned. When I delivered the final concluding statement, the room fell silent, then came cheers and applause. Anyone could see which side had won. The members of our ordinary class, who had never won before and were looked down upon by the key class, stood up excitedly, their hands red from clapping. The crew cut boy beside me looked at me admiringly and said, "Classmate Sophie, you're amazing. I'm honored to have been on your side today. We won." I patted his shoulder. "You were great too, keeping calm under pressure. That's the confidence we need." The teacher came up to me. "Classmate Sophie, you were fantastic. I never would have thought. Seeing how quiet you were before." "Thank you, teacher. Your style just now was very similar to the best debater from Tsinghua University. Very calm. Yet the words were sharp, impressive." I was stunned and quickly asked, "Teacher, do you remember her name?" "Remember. It was Mina. A very pitiable girl." I tried hard to control my facial expression. "How is it?" "Regrettable. She passed away. Seems it was an explosion accident." Just then, the bell rang. I turned and unexpectedly saw Joseph leaning on the windowsill, wearing his school uniform for once, looking much more well-behaved. I was about to go over when someone called me, "Sophie?" Leon looked a bit pale, standing there quietly, his eyes tired. "Why do you have to press so hard?" So I stared at him and said, "Press? The defeated has no right to say that." "Sophie, do you think you're very impressive?" Stella stood in front of Leon. Her beautiful eyes looked me up and down. "Who was it that got their parent called in for cheating on the monthly exam?" I smiled. "Leon, do you think I cheated?" I was sitting in the first position, right under the invigilator's nose. The test papers were only finalized by the school the day before. I said coldly, "It's just a false accusation, aren't you?" "Afraid, if I remember correctly, my total score was 20 points higher than yours, wasn't it?" He frowned as if truly provoked by me. "Sophie, why should I be afraid of a score you obtained by cheating?" I stared into his slightly reddened eyes and saw his nervousness. "You are afraid. But let me tell you, don't worry, from now on, in every exam, I will crush you underfoot." I said word by word, "Your days as number 1 are over. I won't give you the slightest chance again." He was momentarily speechless. "Stella, however," sneered Sophie, "you look like a clown right now. You've been at the bottom since first year high school. How dare you say that?" She gave a disdainful cold laugh, but her smile quickly stiffened. Her gaze fixed on a point behind me. "What are you all saying to my big bro?" A long arm draped over my shoulder. The boy leaned down to look at Stella. "And also, Song, since you're with the top student, stop sending me messages all the time, alright?" Stella's face turned deathly pale. She anxiously tried to explain to Leon, but Leon took her hand and left the classroom. "You like someone like him?" Joseph's hand was in his pocket. "Your taste is pretty average." I watched their retreating backs. "Yeah, not really quite average. How about liking me instead?" The boys' eyes were sparkling, seemingly waiting for my reaction. Just then, a few boys walked past the door bouncing a basketball. Seeing Joseph, they said, "Joseph, hurry up, we're planning to crush the key class guys today." They passed a window before noticing me. The whole group froze. The leader cautiously peeked in. "Joseph, did I interrupt your confession?" Joseph shot him a look, and he shut his mouth, tiptoeing away lightly. I felt a bit at a loss. "It seems I'm rather slow in matters like this. You didn't wear the school uniform just for the confession, did you? Don't you like clean, well-behaved students?" He tugged at the school uniform zipper. Looking at his serious expression, I couldn't help but laugh. He pinched my cheek. "Don't laugh. Tell me, yes or no." I shook my head. "Joseph, I'm not thinking about that. I just want to." Before I could finish, the head teacher's voice came, urgent and flustered. "You two students in the empty classroom. What are you doing?" Joseph grabbed my hand and ran. I watched the silver cross bouncing on his chest as he occasionally glanced back at me. I couldn't help but wonder if he would be a passerby in my life. But if he is, he's certainly a dazzling one. Students, the upcoming midterm exam is a joint exam across 4 cities. Our city attaches great importance to this exam. It can fully reflect your potential. Everyone must go all out, strive for excellent results. The sharp edge of a sword comes from standing on the huge sports field, listening to the cliched motivational words. I was getting drowsy. Next, let's welcome our student representative, Leon, to speak. Thunderous applause. All the girls started getting excited. Leon is so handsome. If he could tutor me, I'd probably get into Tsinghua directly. How can someone be so perfect? I watched Leon in his formal school uniform. He stood under the sunlight, the corner of his white shirt ruffled by the wind. His clear eyes looked firmly ahead. When he finished speaking, Stella, who was standing behind him, stepped forward and presented him with the principal's scholarship from last semester. They stood there, a picture of perfection. But youth doesn't belong only to them. The multitude, small as dust, also shine brilliantly in such fervent youth. And I am lucky to have a second youth. That day, I searched for Mina online. It was indeed the face from my memories. Slender eyes, delicate, fair skin, black hair cut to the shoulders, died in a residential explosion on a summer night 2 years ago. The memory of the flames was explained, but clearly within the memory of the flames I heard someone laughing wildly. But whenever I tried to see clearly, a splitting headache would come. So that night I didn't go home with Vincent. Instead, I went to the internet cafe again. This time, I was playing games. The rocket class guy, Jay, said he had prepared my favorite strawberry daifuku and had a computer waiting for me. When I arrived, I found out it was a gaming session with a bunch of one high school rocket class students. The loser had to solve a prepared killer science problem on the spot. If they couldn't solve it, they had to call all the other team members daddy. When I entered the internet cafe, it was empty. Jay had rented the whole place out. I went to the very back and saw a few boys of varying heights and builds waiting for me. This is my big bro, Sophie from No Te High. My physics god. Everyone welcome. Those guys saw me and even wanted to shake my hand one by one. Jay blocked them. My big bro is a girl, after all. Mind the boundaries. These high school nerds still have a bit of a silly, endearing quality. They introduced themselves one by one. A few names sounded familiar, probably ranking very high in the city. Jay was already 5th in the city last semester's finals, and there seemed to be someone ranked even higher than him. But unfortunately, 5 of us playing together lost 13 games in a row. The test papers were used up, except for one chubby guy who misread a condition and had to call everyone daddy for 1 round. No one else messed up. I took a bite of the strawberry daifuku. The cream burst in my mouth. Sophie? While I was still enjoying the deliciousness, 2 hands lifted me from the chair. The strawberry daifuku in my hand fell to the floor with a splat. I looked up and saw Joseph. Furious, what's wrong? I've been waiting for you at the school gate until now. And you're here playing games with a bunch of guys? Oh, right. I came directly by bus yesterday. I promised to go buy the latest game disc with him. So I said goodbye to the guys at the internet cafe. As I walked out the door, I saw Leon coming out of a tutoring class. He was walking hurriedly, seemingly having gone right after school. He was holding a bread, eating in a rush. It was the first time I saw him look a bit in a sorry state. At school, he's the unparalleled, graceful young man. Everyone says he's purely naturally smart. So he's actually working hard in secret. Joseph was still angry, walking ahead without looking back. But my mind was back on the explosion. I couldn't remember if I had family or friends. I couldn't remember anything. The longer time dragged on, the more of my original memories would disappear. I walked slowly with my head down and suddenly bumped into Joseph's hard chest. He frowned and said to me grumpily, Sophie, when you're with me, can you not think about other things? I was still lost in thought. Sophie? You can be really infuriating sometimes. I was puzzled. Why? He took a deep breath, suddenly grabbed my shoulders and said very seriously, don't tell me you forgot. I said I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? I stared into his eyes for a moment, then burst out laughing. Little brother, stop joking. Who's your little brother? I'm older than you. What do you like about me? I'm only so-so looking, my personality isn't great, and they all say I'm a cheating dog. I suddenly asked seriously, what wire snapped in your brain to make you like me? I looked at his slightly excited face. When I first arrived, I heard he was a tough guy. How come he seems almost cute now? I tore open the milk carton and took a sip. I'm not interested in relationships. I have more important things to do. The first math class after the holiday, 1 week before the midterms, everyone was already reviewing. Does anyone want to explain this problem? The math teacher pointed to the example problem projected on the whiteboard. This is a classic killer problem. I've made a variation that increased the difficulty. I'll give you 10 minutes to look at the problem, then I'll ask a student to come up and share. I glanced at the problem. It was one combining sets and sequences. Doing it the traditional way was tedious, but there was a simpler method. So, when the 10 minutes were up, I raised my hand. The teacher initially pretended not to see, but since no one else raised their hand, and helpful people reminded him, Sophie raised her hand. The math teacher had to call me to the blackboard, still saying, let's have some applause to encourage Sophie's courage. A smattering of applause. Does she even know what she's going out there for? Does she think she's going to draw? Ray muttered to the person behind him. The short-haired girl, Gwen, was still constantly checking her calculations. She's been really strange lately. Before, she never spoke and seemed listless all day. Now she fights for everything. Only the math teacher is willing to let her make a fool of herself. Ha ha ha. I picked up the chalk and started writing the steps, explaining as I went. Step 1. Known to plus 4 equals 6, LP equals 5. The first question was simple, almost instantly solvable. The first sub-question is relatively basic, so I won't elaborate. Let's look at the second sub-question. It was still noisy below at first, but it gradually quieted down. Ray said incredulously, Gwen, look, hers seems to be correct. How do you know? The girl looked up at the blackboard. I've seen part of this problem before. This is a variation. It seems really correct, damn. Ray looked at me in disbelief. Then she must have seen it online too, maybe. But this problem really isn't online. The teacher adapted it. I've seen the online version. But I couldn't solve it either. She seems to have really become smart. Just like that. You think too highly of her. Although the girl said that. She put down her pen and started carefully examining my written steps. But still couldn't resist saying, isn't she just that unsociable, overly sensitive, overestimating herself by having a crush on the handsome guy Leon? Is that so? Isn't it because you also have a secret crush on Leon, actually? I think she looks quite pretty now. Look at her. So confident. Piss off. A guy who got kicked over by her actually starts liking her. Are you a masochist? But as soon as she finished, she suddenly exclaimed in admiration. Like everyone else watching me write the steps, as if seeing the light. So that's how it is, directly. Why didn't I think of that? Gwen gritted her teeth and hit her head, so stupid. When I finished explaining, the math teacher looked at me for a long time, then gave me a very cliché thumbs up. It seems Sophie has really put in the effort. Completely correct. Even in the key class, only Leon could solve this problem. I returned to my seat. Ray suddenly leaned over and asked me a small question. His attitude humble and polite. Looking at his face, it was hard to imagine he had been so nasty to me before. I threw him the scratch paper with the steps and went about my own business. The intensity these days was high. No. 8 high was going all out, hoping our year students could catch up to know 1 high as much as possible. I knew this exam was my chance to turn things around. The exam setters for this one were notoriously vicious, so I didn't dare say I was 100% confident. Since I rejected Joseph, he started frequently giving me things, strawberry daifuku, milk sweets, all packaged very exquisitely. I started getting annoyed and found him. If I say anything, will you promise me? He nodded. So I took a deep breath and said, then I want you to get into the top 10 in the year for this exam. He was stunned. I continued, you said before you did it to anger your dad, but I don't agree with your approach. You live for yourself, not for anyone else. So if you really like me, show me if you can do this. As I said this, I stuffed the pile of gifts he gave me today back into his arms. Stop giving me these, I'll get diabetes. He seemed amused by me, reached out to ruffle my hair, but I took a slight step back. I'm going to study. His hand hung in the air for a long time before he retracted it. The group that cursed me had gradually quieted down, maybe because everyone found it boring, or maybe because the impending 4-city joint exam was indeed unsettling. Even Jay and the others lost their freedom to go out due to excessive homework and parental control. When the test papers were handed out, I felt a sense of relief, close to liberation. The homeroom teacher was invigilating, and there were cameras set up. This time, no one could falsely accuse me. As I wrote down each character, letter, symbol, number, and formula, I felt like I was back in the summer 2 years ago. Back then, I was also in my final year of high school, fighting like this to reach my dreams. When the final bell rang, I walked out of the classroom and saw Joseph leaning against the wall. He said, Sophie, wait to be my girlfriend. In a daze, it seemed I had truly become Sophie. But I am Mina. No one will ever know again. During the answer review session, there were widespread lamentations. I calculated the points I might have lost. Good. Unless Leon suddenly had some epiphany, or was possessed by someone even stronger than me, I should have definitely won. I put down my pen and stretched. Just then, the homeroom teacher came in and patted my shoulder. Your mom is here to pick you up. She says her grandmother passed away. I sat on the back of Mom's car, both of us silent. Mom finally said, it worsened before, but we were afraid it would affect your studies, so we didn't tell you. I softly said, I actually felt nothing. Sophie's grandmother was just an elderly woman I'd never met to me. Your dad is here today too, and his current wife. When I arrived at the gathering, I found a table of people had already arrived from their attire. It wasn't hard to tell Mom was at the bottom. The other women were mostly dressed glamorously, while she hardly had time to change out of her supermarket uniform. I also saw a few figures wearing one high school uniforms. I looked down at my own a high uniform, really quite different. Someone came out warmly to greet us. May, long time no see, this must be Sophie? Getting prettier and prettier. Sitting at the table, I saw that dad, wearing a big gold chain, with a very fashionable woman next to him, probably over 10 years younger than Mom. He completely ignored Mom and me, just drank and chatted on his own. I took a sip of the Special Forces brand coconut milk. The one high students were still doing homework. I just sat at the table, listening to them talk about how hard their children studied at one high. Sophie probably doesn't know. But one high is extremely tough, waking up at 5:30 every day, teachers watching closely. But the good thing is the learning environment is good, everyone is smart, efficiency is high. A perm Dante spoke animatedly. Right? Our Lily always says she doesn't get enough sleep, but she scored 50 points above the first-tier university line last monthly exam. We didn't do well last time, only 20 points above. But they say the questions for this 4-city joint exam are even harder? Right? Extremely difficult. Several said they're sure to fail, but those few in the one high-key class are really smart. Wonder which family is so lucky to have such a clever child. As they spoke, they looked at the few students doing homework with affectionate eyes, not forgetting to ask me, Sophie, doesn't your school assign homework? I shook my head. I finished it at school. Oh, then the homework really is much less. No. 8 high is indeed more relaxed compared to now. 1 high, huh? I remained unruffled, ate a piece of duck. Mom didn't interject throughout. Just then, an uncle who had been playing on his phone asked Dad, "What university is your Sophie planning to apply to?" He glanced at me and immediately sneered, "She's stupid, can't learn. Can't even get into a second-tier university?" The woman snuggled up to Dad said, "Our son is in 6th grade now. He got 390s last time and ranked 10th in his class." I looked at the little boy stuffing his face with me beside her should be considered my brother. He almost knocked me over when I arrived by charging around. The uncle who asked looked awkwardly smiled, but I saw the triumph in the corner of his eye. He said, "Arcade is planning to apply to Suzhou University. Last time, her score was almost at the cutoff. Suzhou University is a good school. I think I remember a good friend from high school went there." So I said, "Suzhou University is quite good. If the score isn't enough." Since when do children interrupt when adults are talking? The man raised his voice. "Look at what score you got last time. And you have the nerve to talk about Suzhou University here." I was about to retort when Mom pulled me back. Okay, let's not say anymore. Who knows how she's raising the child normally?" The man drank a glass of wine, cursing. "With your lousy grades." I gave a cold laugh, stood up and said, "How is she raising me? My mom goes out to work every day to support and provide for me. What about you? You're never around, and now you show up to talk." The whole table quieted for a moment. Then everyone started smoothing things over. All right. Your dad has a new family now. You should be more understanding. Your dad has his difficulties too." I didn't want to cause too big a scene at Sophie's grandmother's funeral, so I sat down. It was frustrating, really frustrating. I took another sip of coconut milk. It was the 20th, so the results should have been out by now. I stared at my mom's phone. No notifications. Just then, the girl who'd been diligently doing her homework earlier came over and showed her test paper to her mother. She seemed to be a maths teacher from No. 1 middle school. She glanced at the paper, and her expression visibly darkened. "Why can you never get this final question right?" The girl's face flushed bright red instantly. An auntie nearby tried to smooth things over. "Oh, come on, your expectations are too high. Everyone knows your daughter's last monthly exam results were almost as good as those in the key class." The female teacher's expression softened slightly. "Only almost as good as the lowest in the key class. A girl's brain just isn't as quick as a boy's." Then, she suddenly glanced at her phone. "Oh, the rankings for the Snow 1 middle school exam are out. And the city-wide and 4-city rankings too. Looks like you can check them on a WeChat mini program." Upon hearing this, the parents immediately stopped eating and drinking, grabbing their phones to check the results. "The top scorer in this 4-city joint exam seems to be from our city." "Really? Last time it was an S city. I wonder which key class student it is. Oh my goodness. We're ranked 501 across the 4 cities. The perm-haired auntie clapped her hands excitedly. "There's hope for a top-tier university. Thank heavens." The female teacher's face fell. "How come you're only ranked 614? Constrained by face. She couldn't properly lose her temper, but she muttered under her breath, "No more mobile phone for you. You're doing an extra test paper when we get home today." Mom had gone to the toilet and missed the news. I took out my phone, ready to check mine too. Sure enough, they noticed my quietness. "How did Sophie do this time?" "I haven't finished entering my details yet," I said without looking up. "No point entering them. Don't embarrass yourself." That dad started up again, probably worried I'd shame him. I ignored him and kept typing. Of all the luck, my phone froze right then. Sophie's phone was stuffed with too much junk. The other parents started comparing their children's results, complaining about poor English scores, the maths being too hard this time, consoling and flattering each other. "Kate, why don't you share your study methods? That girl was ranked for 195 this time. The best among the No. 1 middle school students present." Munching on a spare rib, she said, "What can you do with a stupid brain? No. 1 middle school is just better than No. 8. The woman next to Dad grew restless and suggested my little brother use his phone to check my results for me. "You'll have to face it sooner or later. Let's have a look." "Exactly. There's still almost a year to go. See where the weaknesses are and learn from these No. 1 middle school students." My little brother, engrossed in a game on his phone, reluctantly let me recite my exam candidate number. I finished reciting. He clicked confirm. "Sophie, 4-city ranking. Money all right? I'm going back to my game." The chatter suddenly died down. "Stop talking nonsense. Check properly." The woman snatched the phone from him. He grumbled. "It says she's first." The woman stared at the screen for a long time. "Sophie, No. 8 middle school, T-city." Dad, who had initially seemed disinterested, snatched the phone upon hearing this, his eyes nearly glued to the screen. "Full marks in maths and English. Ranked first. Who's first? Is it that Jay from the key class of No. 1? That super smart kid. My daughter, Sophie, is ranked first." Dad said the word daughter for the first time, holding out the phone for everyone to see. Everyone was stunned, faces full of disbelief. The phone was passed around until it reached me. I looked at the glaring number 1. My mind was perfectly calm. I even put another piece of spare rib in my mouth. After a long silence, the table erupted in astonishment. "Incredible. So did No. 1 middle school mess up this time? Those key class students." "What messed up? Sophie was just too good. She only lost a few marks here and there." They looked at me again, as if still unable to believe that the person who frequently failed exams, the only one who didn't get into No. 1 middle school, had somehow become the 4-city top scorer. Could it be a mistake? I think that's possible. Just then, Mom returned from the toilet. All eyes turned to her. She looked curious under the collected gaze. "Your daughter got first in the city. No. First across her cities." Dad shouted excitedly at her, practically dancing with joy. I saw Mom freeze for a second, then hurry over. I handed her the phone. She took it, stared at the screen, looking for a long time. Sophie ranking. She lifted her head and looked at me, as if doubting whether the person standing before her was the same Sophie on the screen. One tear, then another, fell, quickly wiped away. She jumped up excitedly, almost pulling me into a tight hug. Among the few interactions we'd had, she had always been quiet, reserved, doing things silently. I'd never seen her this happy. Mom, I told you I never cheated. Mom believes you. Mom believes you. The atmosphere at the table grew awkward. Someone said sourly, Jake, you're something else, hiding such an outstanding daughter. With these results, she's a sure thing for Tsinghua. Exactly, May. You too, always telling us Sophie had poor grades. How fake is that? The jab was obvious. I put down my chopsticks. Some people are practically dying of jealousy but still pretend otherwise. How fake is that? Who are you talking about? So rude. Good grades are wasted on you. I smiled. Whoever gets angry first. All right, let's not do this. Lily's mother started making peace. Lily, you need to learn from Sophie. That girl retorted, that's not a score a normal human can get. The excited buzz of discussion clearly diminished. The perm-haired auntie, who had been basking in glory moments before, started eating with her head down, occasionally commenting on how tasty the food was. The No. 1 middle school maths teacher was frowning, texting furiously. I vaguely saw a photo of my student ID card sent in her chat. The corner of her mouth twitched and her gaze towards her daughter turned colder. Dad was grinning from ear to ear, immediately sending me a 5,000 yuan red packet. Sophie, this is a reward. Buy something you like. I saw him swiftly post a moment's update, a screenshot of my results. Caption daughter ranked first in the 4-city joint exam. I stood up and picked up my school bag. Without sparing his feelings, I said directly, no need. I don't want your money, give it to Mom. I'm going back to school for evening self-study. And also, no one can just appear out of nowhere and tell me there's someone to me. My only family is Mom. As I walked out, the evening breeze brushed my face, the setting sun stretched my shadow long. I made a beeline towards the ground, a slight smile tugged at my lips. For this moment, I allowed myself to be happy. Unexpectedly, Leon called out to me at the school gate. He was on the old street not far from school, wearing his blue and white uniform, watching me quietly. The faint yellow light from the street lamps tinged the corners of his eyes and brows, softening his features. Sophie? He seemed to have just had a haircut, looking clean and fresh. Hello, classmate Leon, I replied with a smile. Are you free after school later? I'd like to talk. I shook my head. I don't really want to talk. I broke up with Stella. He looked at me, his deep eyes holding an expression I'd never seen before. To be honest, it was a bit nauseating. Oh, and what do you want with me? I glanced at my watch. 10 minutes left. Aren't you happy? He lowered his gaze to look at me. His eyelashes were longer than any girl's, casting a small shadow under his eyes. I pursued you quite intensely before. Didn't I? I said, smiling. The original owner must have really liked Leon, making him this overconfident. Now, don't worry. I've given up on you. I have no interest in someone I've beaten. When I entered the classroom, everyone was excited. Ray, surprisingly, led the chorus shouting, Sophie, the legend of No Pate Middle School. Everyone was thrilled. Many at No Pate had failed to do well in the high school entrance exams, and No 1 students often looked down on them. Now that the top spot had gone to No Pate, it was a real vindication. The form teacher's smile couldn't be wider. Standing on the platform, he spoke excitedly. Our No Pate Middle School can produce a phoenix too. I apologize to Sophie here. I wronged you before. I will request the principal to reinstate your monthly exam results. Such cheesy words, yet somehow pleasing to the ear. Classmates, learn from Sophie from ranked 1000th in the school to first in the 4-city joint exam. It's legendary. The short-haired girl behind me poked me and handed me a lollipop. Sophie, I really misunderstood you before. I'm really sorry. Can I ask you questions in the future? You called me a suck-up, and now you are too. Ray turned and mocked her, earning a slap on the head from her. At next week's flag-raising ceremony, the principal has chosen Sophie to give a speech. Everyone, make sure to react enthusiastically. She's from our Class 10 flag-raising ceremony. I put on the formal school uniform and the special name badge awarded by the school. Standing high on the podium, I looked down at over 4,000 students holding the microphone. I was silent for a moment. Schoolmates, I'm Sophie from Class 10, Year 3. Maybe some of you have heard of me, maybe not. Back when I was Mina, I'd given many speeches, as student council president, as a competition participant, as student representative. But as Sophie, this body was doing it for the first time. I couldn't control the fierce beating of my heart. Amid the thunderous applause, I accepted the principal's award. I bowed deeply to them. Because of this exam, I seemed to have become the center of attention. Surprisingly, even a teacher from No. 1 wanted me to give a speech at their school, to talk about how I went from the bottom to the top. I had no secret. The secret was that I wasn't Sophie at all. But there was something else worrying me more. The fitness test was this afternoon. I hadn't exercised since entering this body. Thankfully, I barely passed the 800-meter run. While running the 50-meter dash, I saw Joseph waving at me from the finish line. He had indeed made it into the top 10 this time. So I'd been avoiding him. But as the starting gun fired and I shot forward, a full water bottle flew out from somewhere, hitting me square on the forehead. Everything went black. When I became aware again, I found myself floating above, looking at Sophie's body. Had I been knocked out by a water bottle? Everyone rushed over. The PE teacher felt Sophie's neck and yelled urgently, quick, get my phone, call 120. No pulse. Everyone's faces turned pale. I saw Joseph run over. He was sweating profusely with worry. Teacher, I've learned first aid. Let me. He started compressing Sophie's chest. After several dozen repetitions, he pinched Sophie's nose and gave mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I tried to re-enter the body, but kept getting bounced away by Joseph's hands. Can you move aside? I need to get in. No one heard. Teacher? When will the ambulance arrive? It's on its way. I looked at Sophie's deathly pale face, but also tried to see where the bottle came from. No one was paying attention, but I saw a familiar figure hurrying away. No time to think if the soul leaves the body. For 3 minutes, the body is lost. I had to fight my way back in. By the time I squeezed into Sophie's body, I was utterly exhausted. So, although the pulse returned, I couldn't open my eyes. Until I felt a gust of wind, I instinctively covered my mouth. Opening my eyes, I saw Joseph's glistening eyes. His eyes widened first, then he breathed a sigh of relief. Sweat dripped from his chin. Are you okay? The wail of an ambulance sounded in my ears. I looked at the boy's face against the light. He anxiously picked me up. Thump, 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 thump. His heart was beating violently. CPR is indeed exhausting. My ribs hurt terribly. But what if I hadn't managed to re-enter her body? Then I will have absolutely no relationship with Sophie. In the ambulance, lying stiffly, I asked Joseph, did you just kiss me? That was CPR, you idiot. He averted his gaze. But I saw his Adam's apple bob noticeably. The school insisted I rest at home for a few days, but I decided to go back. I heard Jay was already preparing for the math Olympiad. Key senior high schools usually have quotas, but no, 8 is an ordinary school. So I could only rely on the Gaokao to get into Tsinghua again. I seemed to be gradually coming to terms with it. If I couldn't leave this body, then I should live while using it. I wanted to walk the path I'd taken before once more. But a pleasant surprise came quickly. The form teacher said that because of my outstanding midterm results, the authorities had specially given no aid to spas, deciding to send me in Lyon. I had studied for the Olympiad before, made it to provincial level, but had to give up due to an appendicitis operation. This was a good opportunity. Even so, ordinary senior high schools basically have no teachers specialized in Olympiad training. So even Leon had failed in his second year, but I had encountered excellent teachers before, so my foundational knowledge for the Olympiad was still there. However, the teacher insisted on signing us up for a training course, said it would be with many students from key schools. When a bunch of smart brains get together, it usually spells trouble. I pushed the door open. Sure enough, most were boys. I found a corner seat. Many were second-year students, mostly coming in groups from my experience. They were generally quite arrogant. Even the seemingly amiable ones were like that. Getting here already meant they were among the best. But when the training teacher appeared, my mind went blank. I knew him. I definitely knew him. He wore rimless glasses, a white shirt, was very young and refined. It was as if he had existed in my mind for a very long time. I'm Blake. A sentence flashed through my mind. First debater for the opposition, Blake. He was my former classmate. Maybe my gaze was too intense, or perhaps I was distracted by that thought. Blake coldly reminded the student in the corner, please take out your materials if you're daydreaming here. You might as well just go home. And even bigger blow came from the subsequent quiz, having had almost no contact with Olympiad problems for nearly 3 years. Among these students who had undergone high-intensity training for at least a year, I was utterly defeated, scoring third from the bottom. I clearly heard the bespectacled boy next to me snort. You've never done Olympiad before, right? This requires talent. You might be good at the regular subjects, but without talent in Maths Olympiad, the best you can hope for is a second-class prize at the provincial level. Honestly, you people from ordinary schools are just wasting your time coming here. He pushed his glasses up. His nose, I remember last year. The top student from your Tate Middle School just. You probably haven't seen or know. Once Jay, have you? He's a real genius. He's my eternal god. I murmured acknowledgements, but my eyes were on Blake. He was recording the scores. After class, I stayed behind to ask him, Teacher, did you go to Tsinghua? He glanced at me faintly, his narrow eyes naturally exuding a sense of pressure. Yes, but I always felt that in my memory. I had seen him smile many times. Teacher, do you know Mina? He stopped writing and looked up at me. You know Mina? I nodded. He closed the record book. I don't want to talk about her. You'd be better off spending the time improving your scores. You and she both participated in a debate competition. The one where you won the championship, right? He seemed to recall the scene from that day and froze for a moment. Yes, he lowered his eyes. But there won't be anything like that again. She passed away, right? I wanted to ask how she. I was interrupted before I finished. Sophie, you must have done quite a bit of research on me. He looked at me calmly. I don't know why you're interested in Mina. All I can say is, no comment. I am essentially a soul escaped from the underworld. But after I found a host, they couldn't find me anymore. One radish, one hole, as long as there's a host, it's fine. But every time I don't get enough rest and feel mentally fuzzy, I still feel like I might detach from Sophie's body. When I got home, I saw a birthday cake, miraculously. Mom wasn't on the night shift, she was busy in the kitchen. Seeing me back, she said, "Come eat quickly. I heard from Teacher Liu you're going for the Olympiad. Does that mean you can go to Tsinghua if you go?" I smiled. It's not that easy. You need to win an award. When I sat down, Mom brought me a bowl of longevity noodles. Happy birthday, daughter. Mom never dreamed she could give birth to such a clever daughter. Wishing my daughter a long life of 100 years. Eat. Out quickly. Long life of 100 years. I took a bite. I saw wrinkles beginning to form at the corners of her eyes. I couldn't imagine what she would do if I hadn't entered this body, if Sophie had died that night during self-study. Mom, I feel a bit dizzy. She came over and felt my forehead. Oh, you're burning up. I'll get you some medicine. I turned and saw she had hung some talismans around the house. What's this? So, I saw them by the roadside today. Lots of people were buying them. They're supposed to ward off evil spirits and bring good exam luck for students. So I bought some. I was feeling very dizzy, but didn't want her to notice anything was wrong. So I said I was tired and went to my bedroom to sleep. Who knew, at that moment, I saw Sophie's spirit standing in front of the bed. When I'm very weak, I can see these things. She hadn't passed on either. Who are you? Why are you using my body? She rushed at me, tears streaming. With a thud, I was knocked out. I became a wandering spirit again. Only Sophie could see me, but she was terrified of me the moment she returned to her body. She rushed out, incoherently telling her mother she'd been possessed by a ghost. It was September 5th. How is it? Suddenly November, Mum. What should I do? You're delirious from the fever. Here, take some antipyretics. Mum was frightened. Luckily, Sophie, having just returned to her body, was still very weak. So she took some medicine and slept. Early the next morning, I sat by the head of the bed and greeted her. She was startled, tears immediately welling up. I've never done anything bad. Please don't possess me again. Weren't you dead? How come you're back? I asked, propping my chin on my hand. I couldn't let go of Mum. Real fine timing. So you escaped. She bit her lip and nodded. I tried to move closer, but she took out a talisman and sent me flying back 5 meters. I almost dissipated into thin air. Don't come near me. So ungrateful. If it weren't for me, her body would have been cremated long ago. Don't come near me. I'm going to school. She slung her backpack and I followed behind her. When he got to the class, Ray started a new round of flattery again. My elder brother is here. Brother, please give me last night's math exercises. Damn, this guy was at it again, taking liberties. Sophie was startled by him, trembling, not even daring to look him in the eye, and handed her backpack over. You, find it yourself. Ray was visibly taken aback. What's up, brother? Playing retro today. Sophie thought he was mocking her again and rushed out, but accidentally bumped into someone. Leon, I clearly saw her face turn red. Seeming both embarrassed and ashamed, she lowered her head and tried to leave, but was grabbed by the wrist. Sophie, why are you avoiding me? The boy's eyes looked somewhat melancholy. Sophie was utterly captivated by those eyes, stammering, I'm not. I was afraid you didn't want to see me. Who was it who firmly rejected me? A few days ago. I was frustrated, but didn't dare get close. She was already carrying the talisman on her person. I had no chance at all. I had family matters before. So what I said then doesn't count. Sophie looked up at Leon. You said, you confessed to me before. Leon seemed puzzled, but still admitted. I told you I broke up with Stella and asked if you were happy. If you said you were happy, then I would have confessed. I saw that. Sophie was almost too excited to know what to do. Just as she was about to blurt out I do, the class bell rang. See you at the tutoring class. Leon smiled at her. I could feel Sophie's heart rate must have hit 180. But she just stood there foolishly. I floated in front of her. She took 2 steps back. What do you want? Relax. I can't get close to you. I just want to remind you. He doesn't like you. He likes your halo. That can't be. What halo do I have? Then do you think Leon suddenly lost his mind and decided to like you? I looked at her. This body that had accompanied me for 2 months. Or aren't you curious? Why does Ray call you brother? Why is everyone trying to please you? What exactly did you do? She retreated slightly. Are you trying to say that Leon likes you? Not me, little sister. I don't even fancy him. I looked at her youthful face. I just did what you should have been doing all along, studying hard, and not letting anyone bully you. I know you want my body to find out who killed you. Sophie suddenly said, but this is my body. You can't just use it like that. But I can't find another suitable body. If I delay any longer, I might never find out what happened. I can only follow her constantly, looking for the right opportunity. Brother, this problem. Ray came as usual with a final, most difficult problem to ask me. Sorry, I don't know how. Don't ask me. For the entire day in the classroom, Sophie barely lifted her head. Not only did she stammer and know nothing when answering questions in math class, she couldn't even recite a single formula. I didn't speak, just looked at the difficult problem projected on the screen and did mental calculations. I couldn't even hold a pen now. After class, I heard Ray say to Gwen, I feel like Sophie has reverted back to her old self. Maybe the soul returned to its rightful place. Gwen twirled her pen. Or schizophrenia. Better be careful. Who knows when she'll change back and beat me up again. During the evening's self-study math quiz, Sophie unsurprisingly came last. I stared at her paper in a daze. The teacher called her over. Sophie, is everything all right at home recently? She shook her head, silent. You're the one who got first in the 4-city joint exam. The teacher believes you have the ability. Sophie looked to the teacher in shock. Me? 4-city joint exam first? Yes. Look, this is a photo of you giving that speech in front of the whole school. The school even printed it on the no-paid middle school promotional brochure. I leaned on the teacher's shoulder, looking at Sophie's astonished face. Ouch. Why is my neck so chilly? The teacher stood up to put on a cup. Sophie, you must speak up if anything's wrong. You're no Tate Middle School's biggest living advertisement. We're counting on you to crush that. Bunch of geniuses from no one in the Gaokao, okay? Teacher. She was bewildered, probably not expecting me to have done so much for her in just 2 months. As Sophie left the office, she ran right into Joseph. Sophie, going to the internet cafe later. Jay's there too? He even handed her a box of strawberry milk. Brought this for you. It's really good. Sophie was almost speechless. Thank you. Joseph, are you sick? Or have you fallen for me? Joseph was clearly startled by Sophie's shyness, but still lowered his head to look into her eyes. When their eyes met, Sophie's face was completely red. I've never seen you blush. You're acting strange today. Looking at Joseph from above, he was still handsome, with a perfectly proportioned figure and sharply defined, handsome face, a feast for the eyes. I took a deep breath of the strawberry milk, a rich strawberry scent. I have something on today. Won't go to the internet cafe. Sophie lowered her head, mumbling, all right, I'm off then. Joseph ruffled her hair. She didn't avoid it. After evening self-study, Vincent was waiting for Sophie to walk home, as he used to, only today. I sense a heavy, oppressive aura around Vincent. When you're a ghost, it's easy to see if someone has dark clouds or clear skies above their head. Facing Vincent, Sophie seemed much more relaxed. She said, can you believe it, Vincent? Leon confessed his love to me today. I told you if you just persevered, it might work out. Sophie's eyes were sparkling, completely unaware of the change in Vincent's gaze. I also heard Joseph likes you. Is that true? Vincent suddenly looked up and smiled. I don't know about that, but he did give me strawberry milk today. Ah, I see. Vincent nodded. But I caught a whiff of danger. When a person's heart is full of resentment, it's easy for the surrounding fragmented malevolent spirits to latch onto them, thus leading that person to do terrible things. Sophie, be careful. I warned. Sophie didn't answer me, just took out the talisman she had tucked inside her clothes, as if warning me. When they reached the footbridge, Vincent suddenly wanted to stop and look at the view. So pretty. Sophie looked at the brightly lit city. Vincent walked to the edge of the steps. Do you remember we made a mark here? Where? Sophie leaned over. Right here. Vincent said this expressionlessly, then kicked out. But he didn't even need to touch Sophie. She instinctively moved away and missed her step. I watched as the girl reached out helplessly, a look of terror in her eye. Before having time to let out a scream, he rolled down. I wanted to grab her hand, but my hand passed right through her body, grasping nothing. I followed Sophie all the way down, feeling her heartbeat grow weaker and weaker, until it stopped. In her second death, Sophie's soul truly scattered and vanished. I stood at the very bottom of the footbridge, looking up at Vincent at the top. Her school uniform was still bulky, but the gaze behind her glasses held a chilling light. With a body this damaged, even if I had the power to restore it, I would definitely have to endure excruciating pain momentarily. I watched Vincent walk down, confirm without expression that Sophie wasn't breathing, then call 120, crying. It was only when the onlookers gathered that I entered that corpse. A sharp pain swept over me. The spine is fractured and a broken rib has pierced into the lung. There are fatal injuries everywhere. But I, having exhausted all my Mina power, allowing Sophie's body to mostly recover before the ambulance arrived. I even opened my eyes and smiled at Vincent as she was about to get into the ambulance. At the hospital, I had already recovered a lot. X-rays, CT scans, they did everything. The final conclusion was to go home and rest well. Mom rushed over in her cashier uniform, sweating profusely, nearly in tears. Are you hurt anywhere? The doctor said, it's really lucky. Heard from her friend she fell from the footbridge. Having almost no injuries is practically a miracle. Mom took a taxi specially to pick me up today. As I watched the meter ticking, I felt a little distressed. Sophie, you were Mom's life if anything happened to you. I couldn't go on living either. I turned to look out the car window. Would I have family too? After I was gone, did they miss me too? I told your grandparents you got first in the midterms and entered that Olympiad. That could get you into Tsinghua. They were so happy, they sent some mountain goods they grew themselves. I looked at the photo on Mom's phone of two elderly faces full of wrinkles, smiling happily. The next day, when I arrived at school, Ray tentatively called me Big Brother. I put my bag down, propped my chin, and started doing homework, ignoring him. Sophie hadn't done any homework these past 2 days. My pen flew across the page. By the time the Chinese teacher arrived, I had almost caught up. While I was thinking how to deal with the murderer, she actually came to me herself. She got her meal and sat down next to me. Sophie, I didn't mean to scare you. I didn't even touch you. I never thought you would fall. Vincent explained very seriously, her small eyes brimming with tears, lips trembling, sniffing from time to time. Is that so? I picked up my food absent-mindedly. Really? We've been friends for so many years. Back when no one would play with you. Only I played with you. Have you forgotten? Oh, right. I took a sip of soup and looked at her. Don't you feel guilty saying these things? She froze, then asked helplessly. What do you mean? I pulled a drawing pin sealed in a plastic bag from my pocket. Does this look familiar? She stared at it, motionless. This is a pin from Stella's shoe. I originally thought she planted it to frame me. But then I found an identical one in your bag. No, that's not true. It's impossible. You can find pins like this just outside the school. That supermarket has CCTV. It would be easy for me to check. Besides, she was genuinely injured. The school nurse has her medical record. The puncture was quite deep. If it was just to frame me, wouldn't that be too high a price to pay? This is just your speculation. And about the sports test that day, you were the one who threw that water bottle. I saw it with my own eyes. No, I didn't. Still trying to deny it. That day, someone happened to have a camera. Our form tutor asked them to take a few photos of the sports test. Unfortunately, you were caught in one. I smiled and said, the negatives are in our form tutor's camera. I don't believe you. She began to tremble all over. Don't care if you believe me or not. I picked up my tray and stood. You're finished. How can you say that? She suddenly screamed hysterically. Everyone in the canteen turned to look at her. You're so high and mighty now. First in the 4 cities joint exam. Everyone flatters you. Curries favor with you. Wants to be your friend. Not only does Leon like you, But even Joseph too. I can't even manage to say a single word to him. What gives you the right? You were the one everyone hated. Why now? Why do you think I hung out with you? It was just to fit in with Stella and the others. I told them every single entry from your diary, every word you said. I joined them in slagging you off. And you had no idea, did you? That's right. I planted the pin. I threw the water bottle. Because I hate you. I hate that a piece of trash, someone everyone despised, became what you are now. Do you have any idea how sickening you were? Standing on that stage giving your speech? I wished you were dead. So I deliberately made you fall. I thought you would die. But why are you completely unscathed? Even heaven helps you. I looked at her twisted face, but felt only calm inside. From thinking she was a friend at the beginning, to now, I had nothing left to say. All those pieces of evidence I stated so confidently didn't actually exist. It was she who, feeling guilty and breaking down, told everything. I wondered if this could offer some small redress for Sophie's soul. But Vincent was still alive while Sophie's soul had vanished, without even a chance for reincarnation. It is said that the ranking of the final exam in the first semester of the third year of senior high school is the closest to the college entrance examination. So the senior 3 students had entered the hell mode again. Since I stole the spotlight from City First High School in the 4 cities exam, I've become the obstacle, the unexpectedly strong contender mentioned by the teachers in their key class. Brother, they still keep talking about what you look like. I told them you're as beautiful as a fairy. That's pretty loyal of me, right? Jay took a large gulp of coffee and handed me the physics problem. Joseph and I, against all odds, had gone to the library because the internet cafe was recently too crowded, so we changed our base. Who knew the students in T-City were so studious, practically filling the library? Since the finals were before the mock exams, both Jay and I were working on competition problems. Although Jay's physics was slightly inferior to mine when it came to maths, I could only acknowledge him as my master. I handed the maths competition problem to Jay. This question 5. I don't understand this condition. Watch this. Jay took it, scribbled away, and handed it back. Brother clearly is so good at physics. Why does he insist on struggling with mathematics? Because it's interesting. I like a challenge. I circled a few parts of his answer. Jay nodded, as expected of my brother. Impressive. Joseph didn't pause in his work but said impressive indeed. Just not so good at keeping promises. He wore a slight smile and glanced up at me. I gave him a glare and continued working on the problem. Drinking too much coffee meant frequent trips to the loo. While washing my hands, someone behind me said, Sophie? I turned around and saw a girl with a ponytail. It really is you. Haven't seen you in 3 years. Still pulling that bitchy face. She crossed her arms, looking as if she'd seen something amusing. Just then, 2 other girls came out of the toilets. The ponytail girl stared at me and said with a laugh, come quick, look, it's our Sophie. What a coincidence. With your grades, you have the nerve to study in the library. The 2 girls saw me and laughed exaggeratedly. Ha ha ha. I heard you only got into No Kate High School because your mom begged and pleaded, spent 30 grand. I even heard you were at the bottom of the heap at No Pay. To protect my privacy, the teachers weren't allowed to disclose my name. So clearly they didn't know about my first cities exam results. I looked at them calmly. So, Sophie had been bullied long ago, which was why she was so insecure and timid. I shook the water droplets off my hands. And what business is it of yours? I stared calmly at the ponytail girl. She was taken aback for a moment, then immediately laughed. Sophie's gotten fierce, huh? What? You want to hit me? She moved closer. Stella told me you had the nerve to like Leon. And now you're trying to seduce Joseph too, right? Why don't you look in the mirror and see if you're even in their league? How pathetic are you? I lowered my head and laughed. Why were secondary school students so immature these days? I laughed until my shoulders shook, angered by my reaction. They grabbed my collar. What are you laughing at? Let go. I looked up, sweeping a cold gaze over them. The grip on my collar loosened slightly. But the girl still gritted her teeth and said, take another look, I dare you. I'm looking down, so what? Don't just talk the talk, it's boring. When she raised her hand to slap me, I first blocked her arm, then slapped her with my other hand. Asked smack. A crisp sound rang out. Sophie. How dare you hit someone? The other 2 girls shouted, but didn't move. Self-defense and assault are 2 different concepts. I threw off the wrist I was gripping. Anything else? If not, I'm leaving. When I returned to my seat, the 2 boys were sitting in a row, looking at me. You took so long, we're planning to go for Japanese food. Hurry up and pack your things. Just then, a cup of iced milk tea was upended with a splash. My hair, clothes, and the materials in front of me were all splattered and stained. The 3 girls stood in front of me. Double quote, Sophie, did you really think we'd be scared of you? Did you really think we'd forgotten the days you ran errands for us? You were just like our little dog back then, Grace. What are you doing? Jay stood up. The girl turned and saw Jay. She was momentarily flustered, almost speechless. Jay, what are you doing? Here. Joseph immediately handed me some tissues and turned to them. I don't hit girls. Piss off. I wiped my eyes and said calmly, my clothes are dirty. You're about to be famous online. Seems fair. Grace turned around and realized many people were recording videos of her. I threw the study materials soaked through with milk tea into the bin. No matter. I'd already memorized them. On the weekend, I went to the math competition cram school again after a long time. Pushing the door open, I saw a woman with a great figure, wearing a shirt and jeans, with black hair reaching her shoulders, smiling and talking to Blake. Her style was very much like mine used to be. Seeing me enter, she first froze, then said quietly, Blake, your student is here. She deliberately curved her eyes into a pronounced smile, which seemed a bit forced. Blake looked up and saw me, saying flatly, You haven't been here for a long time. Some family matters. I took out my materials and handed them to him. I've done all the problems, just not sure if the methods are standard. The woman, wearing light makeup, took the materials from my hand with interest. Oh, is a senior year sister just starting to participate in competitions? Keep up the good work. I won the first prize in the provincial competition when I was a sophomore in high school, and later won the gold award and got recommended for admission. These are for Blake to look at. I disliked her. Maybe it's because she seems to be deliberately imitating the past me, or maybe it's just that our auras don't match. April, give them to me. Blake curved his lips slightly and reached out his hand to her. She smiled back at him, but her gaze towards me noticeably cooled. Our secondary school students is cocky these days. You're not at Tsinghua yet. If you knew my... Sorry. I'm not interested. I didn't look at her, simply stating a fact. She smiled good-naturedly. Alright, fine. Those who haven't experienced a good beating tend to be arrogant. Okay, Blake, I'll pick you up for dinner after class. She flipped her hair and skipped out lightly. Blake flipped through my materials and actually praised me for the first time. If you took these independently, that's significant progress. She's a lot like Mina, isn't she? I suddenly blurted out. This time he didn't avoid it. Yes, she imitated it very well. Then he stared at me and said, but putting aside the appearance, you are more like her. You are simply her. And can you tell me why your handwriting is identical to Mina's? His eyes seemed to bore into me. No one could imitate her handwriting. There are too many details. Blake took me to Mina's cemetery, driving from City T to Beijing. Neither of us knows where we got the courage from. One dares to speak, and the other dares to believe. I looked at the tombstone adorned with small daisies and suddenly laughed. The portrait on the tombstone was smiling, naturally smiling eyes without any effort, and a very faint dimple. Long time no see, myself. Are you really Mina? Blake squatted in front of the tombstone. You had no family. Back then, April, and I went to find your remains. Your body was blown to bits. We just fished out 2 pieces of bone, did a DNA test, and buried them here. Is it really okay for you to say that in front of me like this? I kicked away a small stone. Well, being an orphan meant there were no attachments to miss. Did we date? I asked curiously, although I'd love to lie and say yes, unfortunately. It was unrequited love on my part. He stood up, fingering the necklace around his neck. You gave me this necklace. I've worn it for 2 years, never taken it off. The one who died with you was your classmate, Henry. He was the one who brought the explosives to your place. But what exactly happened? I have no idea. I searched my memory for that name. There did seem to be someone like that. Very generous, often treating everyone to meals. Then I heard Blake ask, you're not exactly lying low back in secondary school, are you? Getting first in the first city's exam, aren't you afraid of raising suspicion? And I suppose you're still quite popular. I thought of Joseph's relentless pursuit and Leon's sudden renewed interest. I sighed, about to say that secondary school students really had boundless energy. Just then, I saw a group of people being held back by security guards. They were wailing and shouting, holding hose, yelling, give us back our son's life. She doesn't deserve peace and death. Give us back our son Henry's life. They even had a loud hailer shouting, Tsinghua University's Mina killed her son. May she be condemned to the 18 layers of hell, never to be reincarnated. Blake made a phone call, and the police took them away again. I watched from afar and asked Blake, does this happen often? Yeah, they're very persistent. Every time they come, I get my friend to take them in for detention. I should thank them for blocking my path to the afterlife. But why do they hate me? After the explosion, Henry's parents arrived immediately. They refused to admit Henry made the explosives, insisting it was you. Henry was a precious son from a poor family, the first university student from their village, and at Tsinghua no less. They treasured him. Then he was just gone. A scene suddenly flashed before my eyes. Mina, please save me. I can't be expelled. Please help me. Don't tell anyone, okay? If I get expelled, I might as well be dead. Prison would be worse than death. Why are you pretending you don't know anything? I found the recording on your computer. If they investigate me, I'll drag you down with me even if I die. You're coming with me. There was a moment of pain when the explosion happened, then nothing. Back then, I saw the underworld guards drag Henry down to the 18th layer of hell. He was writhing, no longer looking human. Before they could drag me away elsewhere, I seized the chance and ran. But what exactly had I seen? I was still confused. And also, if he came from a poor family, why did he act like a rich kid? Who is it again that has brought trouble upon me? If I prove the existence of souls, could I win a Nobel Prize? He heard this and laughed loudly. Double quotes Mina. You've become much more humorous since becoming a secondary school student. I looked at the upturned corners of his mouth. So different from before. When are you coming back to Tsinghua? His fingers tightened slightly on the steering wheel. I miss you every day. After I get in, I said, watching the highway unfold outside the window. I will definitely come back. I believe it. In my eyes, you're capable of anything. It's just a pity outsiders can't enter Tsinghua campus right now. Otherwise, I'd definitely take you to see the debate society. Our old photo is still hanging there. I twirled a small grass ring I'd made from a blade of grass plucked near the gravestone. The sky at dusk was a rare shade of pink and purple. When we got out of the car, I couldn't undo my seatbelt for the life of me. Blake leaned over and deftly released it. He tilted his head slightly, his gaze fixed on my eyes. The distance was close, almost intimate. As he seemed to lean in closer, I opened the car door and got out. Standing outside the car, I said to him, Blake, thank you for believing me. That weekend, Mom, against all odds, got 2 days off and took me back to our hometown to visit my grandparents. When we arrived, they came from afar to meet us. They had dark, weathered faces and rough hands, but their faces lit up with smiles upon seeing Mom and me. May, Sophie, you're back. All along the way, families came out to greet us. It was a relatively poor mountain village, But everyone was very warm, the top-scoring Tsinghua student is back, old whose family is so blessed, such a clever granddaughter. Perhaps my grandparents had boasted too much. Everyone seemed to think I'd already been admitted to Tsinghua. When we got home, I told my grandparents, I haven't been accepted to Tsinghua yet. What does that matter, you're so capable, coming first last time. It's a sure thing. My grandparents were busy making dumplings. But grandma added, still, we shouldn't be too boastful. If that family finds out, who knows how jealous they might get or what trouble they might stir. Their house is covered in talismans. That family never comes back here. They're always in Beijing. Thinking about digging up that girl's grave, or my hand, which was chopping garlic, jerked, and I nearly cut my finger. Was his name Henry? Yes, that's it, 2 years older than you. Tsinghua chemistry department, so clever. Came from these mountains, studied for 2 years, then the accident happened. Grandpa had a loud voice. Sophie, you must be careful. In the future, when you're away from home, keep your wits about you. You're our only descendant. While eating dumplings, Jay started a group video call that I answered. Seeing him and Joseph lying at home playing games, I felt a mix of frustration and affection. You don't deserve your high rankings, big brother, don't forget. You were the most enthusiastic about pulling us to play games before. Yeah, stop pretending. What delicious food are you eating? I picked up a dumpling and ate it slowly in front of the camera. Just then, another call came in. I answered. It was a somewhat familiar female voice. Are you Sophie? It was full of hostility. Yes, you should know I'm Blake's girlfriend, right? Oh. It was April. Double quotes. No, I didn't. Well, now you know. I hope you'll keep your distance from him. You're still in secondary school. And already so good at seducing men, miss. What's wrong with you? One benefit of being a secondary school student was being able to call this annoying person miss. According to Blake, April was also my friend. But for some reason, I couldn't remember anything about her. Sophie, don't think you're so special. She was clearly angrier now. But that phrase sounded familiar. Mina, don't think you're so special. It's because you're always one step ahead that I never get any opportunities. A shiver ran down my spine. In the dead of night, when everyone was fast asleep, I went to Henry's house. The house was dark, built on the mountainside. If I hadn't been a ghost for so long before, I would never have dared to come. The wooden house's doors and windows were wide open, covered densely in talismans. But unlike the usual ghost-repelling charms, these talismans were specifically designed to attract spirits back. They refused to give up on Henry, so they left the doors and windows open and put up these talismans, waiting for him to come home. It's just that I could feel he had never returned. I sat on the threshold of his front door and video called Blake. Do you still have contact information for Henry's lab supervisor back then? Or anyone he was close to? As long as you delete the chat history, we can talk about anything. The man opposite me shakily picked up his coffee, seemingly unable to believe that his online crush who'd agreed to meet was a secondary school student. Don't worry, I won't reveal the chat records, but you have to answer truthfully. All right then. Sitting there in my school uniform with a man nearly 40 years old certainly drew sidelong glances. Henry. Know him. I know of him. Tell me, actually, I'm not really afraid. It's just he embezzled research funds. He got scared. He told me a classmate overheard him complaining to me on the phone. Said there was evidence. How did he embezzle? Procurement. Fabricating data. I don't really understand their high-level stuff. But if it was discovered, it wouldn't just be expulsion. Then maybe he couldn't take it. So he made a bomb. I felt a chill run through me. Did he say the name of the classmate who overheard? Mina? He didn't know at first. But later he asked a girl. A girl, yes. After he finished the call, he opened the door and saw a girl. She said she'd just seen Mina standing outside the door eavesdropping for a long time. Didn't know what she was doing. She ran over, and Mina ran off too. I fell silent. I hadn't heard Henry's phone call. I wouldn't have been eavesdropping outside the door. Do you know who that girl was? The one who told Henry? I don't know. I only saw her from afar. I took out a prepared photo. Is it her? The boss frowned, looked for a moment, then said with certainty, it's her. That figure is hard to mistake, April. But why would Henry believe whatever she said? He was scared. Besides, does it matter who it was? The truth was out. He'd rather die than see his painstakingly built image destroyed. Henry was already dead. Dead men tell no tales. His soul had even turned into a malevolent ghost, thrown into the underworld courts to be fried and tormented. I walked in the cold north wind of T-City. I didn't go to the tutorial class today. I started to wonder if any of this was even meaningful. So what if I go to Tsinghua? Mina's life ended like that. Henry is dead. But what about April? Everyone accepted the story that Mina was killed by a madman. No one looked deeper. 3 days later for the maths competition, I had a high fever of 40 degrees. Maybe it was because I hadn't rested properly these past few days. My hand shook holding the pen. 8 out of 10 examinees were boys, many from prestigious schools, most having received systematic training since childhood. The numbers danced on the exam paper. Maths competitions are largely about performance on the day. My soul and this body weren't fully integrated yet. There were moments I felt like my soul was about to leave my body. After handing in the paper, I saw Blake waiting for me in the crowd. I walked over and said, I think I messed up. My legs gave way. He seemed to have anticipated it, catching me steadily. Mina, you've already done brilliantly. The soft wool of his coat brushed against my cheek. I closed my eyes and said, why is it so hard? Don't worry. I will make sure everyone pays back what they owe you. The hug tightened. I couldn't help but shed tears. My failure in the competition seemed unexpected by the whole school. Leon successfully got direct admission to Peking University. I remember him saying to me before he left school, I know your ability is greater than this. I was just luckier. I said, You really know how to rub salt in the wound. He smiled easily and said, looks like you're okay. I'll be waiting for you in Beijing, Sophie. When I got home, Mom was on the phone. She was smiling apologetically. She didn't get a placing. The phone volume was loud. I heard the person on the other end say, but you said before your daughter was first in the 4 cities exam. Someone who scored worse than her back then got direct admission. Bring back the special red envelope the supermarket gave you tomorrow. After hanging up, Mom turned and saw me. She quickly said, Sophie, it's okay. I'll make you a midnight snack. I looked at her slightly stooped back. Suddenly, I asked Mom, what if I'm not Sophie? At all? What would you do? She smiled and said, how could that be? You're a piece of flesh. From my belly. How could I not recognize my own child? Mom doesn't expect you to get into Tsinghua. I just want you healthy and safe, Sophie. You have a good mother. Now, perhaps I must tell a long-term, well-intentioned lie. After the competition, the school started giving me the cold shoulder. It seemed they thought, we invested so much in you, and you didn't even get a placing. Falling from grace sometimes only takes one failed competition. I was listlessly eating breakfast at the popular breakfast shop near the school entrance, when suddenly an arm hooked around my neck. Another hand pinched my cheek. Why do you look so out of it? I didn't speak. Who bullied you? He gently held my shoulders. I looked up at him. He was really good looking. Perfectly proportioned single eyelids, a high nose bridge, thin lips. But different from both Leon and Blake, he radiated a kind of vibrant life force. A very, very bad person, I murmured. It wasn't me, was it? I don't think so. He tried to make me laugh again, and casually ordered another basket of soup dumplings and 2 bowls of crab roe noodles. From the vendor, Joseph. What if I were someone else, someone who died? Whose soul then possessed Sophie's body? Would you still like me? I would. Even if you were originally a 200-pound tough guy, I'd still like you. He took my soy milk and fried dough sticks and pushed the soup dumplings towards me. Oh, Sophie? I'm not letting you get away. Eat more. After we finish, we'll go to Tsinghua together. He probably thought I was upset about the competition failure, carefully trying to cheer me up, comforting me without directly mentioning it. I was about to thank him when his group of friends arrived noisily. 5 bowls of pork chop noodles, they ordered. Seeing me with Joseph, they immediately understood. So this is why Joseph has been so restless lately. Classmate's son, don't be too upset. So you lost the competition. It's okay with Joseph here. He'll make sure. Joseph threw his school bag at them. The guy yelped, sis-in-law. Joseph has been getting more and more irritable lately. You really need to keep him in check. Just then, the crab roe noodles arrived. They exclaimed, crab roe noodles for breakfast. Joseph, you're something else. Shut up, Joseph scolded. But his expression changed quickly when he looked back at me. He immediately switched back to a smiling, squinty-eyed look. Eat up. It's not good when it's cold. I stared at the bowl of crab roe noodles Joseph had pushed towards me, already perfectly mixed by him, golden yellow and fragrant. Blake went back to Beijing, and I didn't tell him what I'd heard about April. I thought, there's plenty of time ahead. Once this period is over, I'll get to the bottom of this properly. The countdown to the college entrance exam changes every day, and a flood of exam papers keeps coming down. Science subjects are manageable, but the copying and mechanical memorization for liberal arts make my wrists feel like they're about to break. Jay went to visit Beijing first and sends me photos of Tiananmen Square and Peking duck from time to time. From the chilly spring of February to the early summer, where even a little movement makes you break into a light sweat. It seems I've temporarily forgotten that I'm Mina. When I went to the water room to get some water, I saw Vincent again. She had heavy dark circles under her eyes, and when she saw me, she stepped back to paces. Ever since everyone heard what she said in the canteen that day, I called the police. But because I'd used my vitality to heal the injuries on his body, Vincent only got a warning and some education. Stella also completely cut ties with her. Vincent still hates me. I know. She must have hoped I died that night. After I got my water, she called out to me from behind, "You're not Sophie, are you?" I turned around. She bit her lip and said forcefully, "You can't be her." She was very agitated, the flesh on her cheeks trembling. She was inferior, stupid, and had a stutter. But you besides, I saw it clearly. Her head was smashed to pieces. There's no way she couldn't have recovered in a day. I smiled. The real Sophie was killed by you, falling from that high overpass. Don't you remember? Then who are you? Her hands were shaking, and her voice trembled too. All you need to know is that your ridiculous jealousy killed an innocent person. For every day. After this, you'll have to pay your debt. I tightened the lid on my water cup. Vincent, you had a chance to be better. But you ruined everything with your own hands. The last 3 days before the college entrance exam were hit by continuous heavy rain. I sat in the classroom, looking at the knowledge points I already knew by heart, occasionally working through a few steps on a draft paper. When the monitor went to uncover the countdown, there was another chorus of groans. No, I haven't finished revising. I do want to take the college entrance exam. But more people, like one at the back and my deskmate Ray, wanted the battle to end quickly. Once bitten, twice shy. If the former Mina felt a little nervous about the college entrance exam, now, all I felt was eagerness for it to come quickly. When evening self-study ended, Stella found me. She seemed to have lost a lot of weight, making her eyes look even bigger. "Sophie, I lost to you." She pursed her lips and gave me a faint smile. "I'm willing to accept defeat. I never made any bet with you." I looked at her fluttering eyes in amazement, wondering how someone could be so beautiful. "I bet with you." She lowered her eyes and said regretfully, "I bet you were cheating. I bet Joseph was just infatuated for a while. I bet I win beautifully." Stella laughed self-deprecatingly. "But I lost, also. I'm sorry for being so mean before. I don't expect you to forgive me. Good luck with the college entrance exam. The girl turned around, her high ponytail swinging behind her slender neck. When the college entrance exam bell rang at the last moment, I knew that my second year of senior year in high school had come to an end. This year's exam questions still put the difficulty in the science subjects my strong point. When I walked out of the exam hall, my mom was actually waiting outside, holding a bunch of flowers. I saw Joseph come out of the exam hall, and his dad and mom were waiting for him too. His dad had a bald head and was wearing a Hermes belt, really the nouveau rich look he described. His mom, though, had great poise, tall, fair in a dress, holding a bunch of flowers waiting for him. He and I exchanged a smile, then each went into our family's arms. When the results came out, my mom and I were sitting in front of the computer. The moment she saw my score, she jumped up, started clapping, and then hugged me. In fact, the Tsinghua admissions team had already called me. They said I might have met the cutoff score, a trick I'd seen 3 years before. I replied, well then, I'll go have a chat with Peking University. The person on the other end panicked. No, we can talk about this. I still chose Tsinghua not just because it's where I can realize my dreams, but also because there were so many people I love there. As soon as Dad got the news, he held a banquet inviting relatives and friends to my admission celebration. Dad stood with my mom, something unprecedented, both of them looking radiant. When I arrived at the hotel, I saw a very tacky red inflatable arch that said congratulations to our daughter Sophie on being admitted to Tsinghua University. My stepmother sat at the table looking angry, snatching my little brother's phone, always playing games. You're so stupid. My little brother had just lost a game and started crying and making a scene. It's all your fault, talking so much nonsense. That's why I lost. My stepmother slapped him. I'll make you cry. I'll make you cry. At that moment, Dad walked over and shouted, crying on such a happy day. If you don't want to stay, get out and go home. I watched all this calmly, without saying a word. Maybe to Dad, who I am doesn't matter. What matters is that I've brought him glory, and he's happy. When the banquet started according to the program, I went up to say a few words. The host spoke emotionally. She is recognized as a genius girl at No Pate Middle School. From obscurity to stunning success in the 4-city joint exam, she's had a smooth journey, getting into China's top university. Let's welcome tonight's star, Sophie, to say a few words. The hall was bathed in light. I looked at the familiar and unfamiliar faces, thinking of my 20 years as Mina. There's no such thing as a genius, and no such thing as a completely smooth journey. I can only say that maybe once, I wanted everything, always felt it wasn't enough, and pursued first place in a pathological way. My past life was what others saw as a perfect blueprint. But at the moment my life ended, I couldn't recall a single moment of simple beauty. My past happiness was always tied to my achievements. But now, I want to properly enjoy the hustle and bustle of the human world. Everything seemed to be on fast forward. When I went to register at Tsinghua, Blake was waiting for me at the school gate in a white shirt. With a healing smile that vanished when two boys suddenly popped up behind me. Blake, that's not fair. Do you dislike me that much? Jay slung his arm over his shoulder. After a year, I was back here. The familiar campus, everything familiar. Even the freshmen' smiling faces were the same. Hey students, shall I take a photo for you? The other three. And I stood in front of the registration board and took a photo. Then we went our separate ways to find our dormitories. After putting down my luggage, I went to the debate society. April was now the president. I saw my photo on the board of past presidents. In the photo, I was also a freshman in college with a young and immature face, but a firm look in my eyes. The trophy I'd won was still in the most prominent position. As my fingertips glide across, it feels as if I'm back to that day. Don't touch that. It's very precious. April came slowly from behind, wearing a dress. You really came. She sat down and crossed one leg over the other. I stared at her. April, you told a big lie. She took a sip of coffee. What? You want to join the debate society, don't you? Sorry, we're full. She stirred her coffee casually. I took out a voice recorder and played the conversation I'd had with that middle-aged man. When she heard yes, that's her, her hand started to tremble slightly. The video file is on my computer. So what? Everyone's already dead. Who's going to listen to your ridiculous speculations? April put down her cup. Even if you recorded this, even if I told you it was me who deliberately led Henry to think you'd heard his secret, so what? She curled her bright lips. They're all ashes. But I'm alive and well, and I'm Blake's girlfriend. I lowered my head and stroked the voice recorder. April, you should still recognize me, shouldn't you? Her hand trembled, and coffee spilled all over the floor. What did you say? Nothing. I stared at her. Are you scared? I turned around. You owe me, and you'll pay it back bit by bit. She stood up and laughed exaggeratedly. What are you talking about, Sophie? Are you imitating Mina too, just like me? But she's dead without even a trace of bone left. Boom, the fire that day was so beautiful. She moved closer to me, her eyes filled with pleasure, thinking about Mina blown to pieces. It made me crazy with joy. You incited Henry, didn't you? I stared at her face. Actually, she didn't look like me at all. She had full lips and big eyes, a beautiful woman. He made the bomb. He went there himself. How can you say I incited him? She looked at me, then suddenly shouted, Mina, double quote. Then she laughed again. Haha, really is you. Why was her mental state suddenly so bad? April rubbed her temples, still laughing. I told him you'd overheard his phone call. But that's not why he killed you. I told him you were always bad-mouthing him behind his back, calling him poor, calling him a hillbilly from the countryside. Ha, you should have seen his face then. She suddenly stopped laughing and screamed in terror, staring behind me. Henry, don't come over. Don't come over. I turned around, but there was nothing there. When I turned back, I saw her lifting the trophy to hit me. A hand blocked it and blood flowed down the arm. I had no idea why Joseph was there. He just pushed gently, and April fell to the floor. She sat there, eyes glazed over. Giggling foolishly, I saw Blake immediately restrain her. His dark pupils were fixed on me, and I had no idea what emotion lay in them. My hands were covered in Joseph's blood. I pressed down on his arm, but the blood kept seeping out. Yet he kept asking if I was okay. When I took Joseph to the hospital, his hand was still bleeding heavily. It might have hit an artery. What were you thinking? I'd actually expected her to be up to no good, so I could have dodged it. Yeah, I was being stupid. His lips were a little pale, but his eyes never left me for a moment. Sophie, I've said it many times. You don't have to be so perfect in front of me. You can rely on me. I met his intense gaze and my heart skipped a beat. All sorts of things from the past year came rushing in. When they were stitching him up, his earlier heroic bravery crumbled. He howled, telling the doctor to be gentle. You'll need a tetanus shot later. The doctor said coldly, address? Tsinghua University. Joseph gritted his teeth and grabbed my hand. Oh, fellow alumni. Can't be this afraid of pain, your girlfriend's watching. The doctor's eyes sparkled playfully behind his glasses. April was sent to a mental hospital. No one could figure out why she'd suddenly gone mad. But I knew. Adding a daily dose of medicine to her food can cause irreversible damage. Only one person had the ability to make such a hard-to-detect drug. I knew Blake was helping me, but he'd actually stayed by April's side for a whole year, giving her that medicine. The law can't punish her. This was the only way. Blake looked at me and smiled. She took away my light. The you who stood before me. The you I was willing to give everything for. His eyes were red, but he still smiled. Mina, maybe one day I'll be punished too. But you must stay clean. He reached out and brushed a strand of hair from my forehead. Who heard my prayer and sent you here? But the most painful thing is that you'll never love me. When Blake said this, his voice was very soft and a flash of sadness passed through his eyes. He drained his coffee in one go, stood up and said, I'm going abroad, next Monday's flight. To Harvard, knowing you're okay is enough. If you ever need me, just call. He smiled, warm again. I was driving when the chemistry department supervisor contacted me. At the sound of his voice, tears welled up in my eyes. Old Lou had once said I was his most promising student. Now his voice was polite but somewhat distant. Professor Lou, thank you for calling specially. It's been nice talking to you, Miss Su. To be honest, I cried while talking to you. You're very like a student I once had. His voice sounded older than before. April's dropped out. The project she was working on was taken over from someone else and hasn't made any progress. Are you interested? Yes? That was my baby. The research I poured my heart into but never got to finish. After hanging up, I drove to my destination, wanting to lay a bunch of flowers for the former Mina. But from a distance, I saw Henry's family making a scene again. So I got out of the car. I walked expressionless into the cemetery, then snatched the hoe from Henry's mother and dug up my own grave. I moved quickly, hacking at the tombstone with a hoe until it broke, then dug up the urn and held it in my arms. I threw the hoe back to them, who were staring in shock, then got in the car and drove away without looking back. Looking at the bunch of flowers and the urn, still covered in dirt, placed side by side on the passenger seat, I laughed loudly, almost crying. The car sped away from the cemetery. I knew it was time to say goodbye to Mina. When I returned to No. 8 Middle School as an outstanding alumnus, I saw my photo was still printed in the school brochure. Some students stopped me, looking at me starry-eyed and said, "Excuse me, are you senior Sophie?" I nodded and they got excited. "I heard you went from being 1000 in the school to getting into Tsinghua University. Can you teach us?" I smiled and said, "Never give up hope. Live each day as if it's your last, and you might suddenly find yourself channeling a straight A student one day as a guest of honor." I stood on the stage, looking down at the new first years and the second and third years. I've lived to completely different lives to completely different senior years. I turned on the microphone, cleared my throat and said my opening line. First years, welcome to No. 8 Middle School. Third years, welcome to Hell Mode. Everyone laughed and clapped, but only those who'd been through it know. What Hell Mode? It's clearly a ticket to your dreams. I fulfilled Sophie. Just as Sophie saved my soul, I will use this healthy body to brave the winds and waves.